Hi, and welcome, guys, to a new episode of the Nomadic Business Inside. Today, I decided to spontaneously do a little episode with Zakira. And before we jump into this episode, I'm actually gonna try to make her fall asleep because today I'm home alone with Zakira and Sylvia's out diving with friends. So I've been watching her for a lot of hours. So let's see if we can make her fall asleep and get this episode started.
You are listening to LD Podcast. Would you like to publish with us? Tell us your story at www.ld.studio/podcasts. Edited and published by LD Studio.
All right. It doesn't actually seem that she will be falling asleep in a while, so we'll just bring her with us in this episode. Do you want to say hi? Nah, she's calm like an angel. Just want to fall asleep. We just had a quite big lunch, trying to eat some porridge and banana, and she actually got some pizza too, which she loved, some pizza leftovers. And think maybe in 10 minutes by the end of this episode, she will probably been fallen asleep. But right now she's just very curious about the microphone, almost like she want to touch it. You are in the sleepy mode, right? Well, I felt like doing a little break in the bankruptcy case because it hasn't been moving on the last days. As I told you in the last episode, the LD Vintage bankruptcy case has already been closed, whilst the LD Studio one is moving forward slowly. And hence, I thought I can do another episode about something else, which is you, Zakira, and how it is to be a digital dad and working remotely while having your kid at home. And I think this is a topic that a lot of people are touching recently. It's been more and more common. And I think a lot of people in our age are wondering how it feels like, what challenge you're going to meet, what opportunities it gives, and also what the day-to-day or hour-to-hour can be like. So, yeah, I'm going to touch down on that topic in this episode. And as always, if there's any questions you feel unanswered or would like to know more about, just reach out in the comment field or send me a message on Instagram and I can try to do another episode. Also, for you who didn't watch or listen to the last episode, we are after the summer gonna launch our own Discord network for all the members in the Digital Nomad chat and followers. So that's gonna be a Discord group that's gonna be paid access. It's not gonna be extremely expensive, but it is paid access because we're going to be sharing a lot of more inside details, and it's also going to be a place where you can ask direct questions and get quick and fast answers, tips and tricks, and we're also going to provide one-on-one guiding sessions there. But yeah, how is it to be a digital dad, Zakira? We are kind of figuring it out slowly. It has taken a while, to be honest. Today was a day that I was not looking forward to because I woke up at 6 a.m. here in Ecuador, as we're having two very important meetings throughout the days. We had the Diga Foundation's board gathering of April, and we also had some important client calls in the morning. And Sylvia was leaving the house at 7 a.m., coming back at 1 p.m., so around 5-6 hours alone. Hey, what is it? Are you struggling a bit to fall asleep? It's okay. She really want to reach out for the microphone. Let's see if we can continue a bit more. Anyway, and Sylvia was gone for 6 hours, and in those 6 hours I had both of those meetings and several important preparations to do, and very surprisingly it went extremely well. Just before the Diga Foundation board meeting, she had a massive crying attack and was crying for like 10 minutes straightforward. Nothing helped, and I just kind of stuffed her with some food she didn't want to really eat. So I just not aggressively forced it in her, but I actually forced it a bit. So she had a full stomach. And then I took her in this baby carrier, which I'm having her in now. And just as the meeting started, literally on the minute the meeting started, and I started to talk with Martina, which is the CEO of the Diga Foundation. She was the first coming into the meeting. She just like instantly fell asleep. She said like one more cry to Martina, which is quite funny because Martina probably thought like, oh, they're so cute and so nice. But before that, we were kind of strangling each other almost. But immediately when the meeting started, she fell asleep. I think she enjoys listening to conversation, enjoys being part of it. So that's obviously a challenge, becoming a digital dad with a lot of responsibilities, especially if you are, in a leadership position or having board responsibilities. There's not always the opportunity to move those meetings, and sometimes you just have to stand in it. And I think that's some of the beautiful things there, that you can actually, take your kids into the work environment. Especially in Scandinavia, that's almost like a no-go. I've never ever, met a client or had any business interaction where someone had to bring their kid. It's always like, can we move the meetings? I have my kid. Or, they're always talking about their family, but they're never actually involving family in those settings. While other places in the world, I think that's a quite common thing. Probably not in high corporate leadership positions, but especially, for example, if parents work in a coffee shop, they will bring the kids in the afternoon because they have to be at work. And I'm a big proactive fan of that kind of environment. I mean, obviously kids can't be around in all these settings. It will get boring after a while. For them, it's important that they have their playgrounds and that their parents are available and fun and playful. But I do think it's helpful for them, and also an experience to join their parents into corporate contexts, because I know that I enjoy, work. I enjoyed it as a kid and still enjoy it, looking at my mom working. She's a dentist. I used to, and still sometimes visit her in her office. But I never really had the opportunity to see my dad working close up, and that's always something that I kind of missed. So yeah, during the Diga meeting today, she just fell asleep eventually, and the whole meeting she was just passing out, which was quite good because we had some heavy planning ahead. We were planning the general assembly in end of May, where several new board members are going to be elected in, and we have some amazing candidates lined up. It's been really popular. The election committee, who actually this year has been led by Anne Silve, has done an amazing job. There's so many high-profile candidates, and I'm really excited for that board and how we're going to take that foundation further on the next 2-3 years. Obviously, we have some really nice board members from before as well. Martina, who is the CEO and previously the vice chairman of the board, is such an amazing person. Hanna is such an amazing person. I think actually I'll ask Martina and Hanna to join into one of these future episodes. I think they have a lot of cool things to share, and especially Martina has worked as a digital nomad for many years, as we have. So, and by the way, if you're interested in any board position and you think you have the qualities to help the Diga Foundation to improve, to grow, to expand international, there is every year in May we have our elections. So you can just go to diga.it and put in your application there, or reach out by email, and then they'll make sure that the election committee for next year puts you on the list. Anyway, I think I want to go back to the digital father life, which is going to be the main thing in this episode. And first and foremost, I want to start with my expectations before having Kira. I honestly didn't know what I was going to. I was thinking, I was taking the task much lighter, thinking it's easy to have her at the side working, engaging with her sometimes. But I completely underestimated both the distraction it is for you as a worker, having a kid demanding attention. It is really hard and tiring to gather proper concentration and focus and deep dive into a task. And if you're trying to do it too quickly before your brain and body adapts to the new life situation, you can get really frustrated. Because I did in the beginning. I say, yeah, sure, I'll take care of her, and still had this ambition of getting all these and these tasks done, but not really realizing that it would be more appropriate to say, okay, today I'm just gonna manage 50% or less of this, maybe even just 30%. It's almost like going to work with a heavy flu and headache. If some of you people experience that sometimes, you know how hard it is to maybe do tasks that you usually are so good at. So that's actually a pretty good comparison, because there's constantly something you to tend to at the side. And but luckily it changed, after a while. I think it took like 3 to 6 months, especially now when she's 6 months old. I'm really feeling way more balanced about it. It's much easier to settle down the expectations, and it's almost like my work mind and brain has changed and adapted naturally, because I'm also, when I'm not in responsibility for her, having another set of expectations. And before, for me, lowering the expectations was equal to letting go of your dreams, diminishing, being less. But actually now my view has changed. It's much more King schläft gleich einen. And there she went. It's almost like the last final cry of sleep. Where were we? The level of expectation, it's almost like it feels, lowering your expectations but still knowing what you're capable of feels like releasing a lot of pressure from yourself. And most of the time, in my experience, you will start to perform better. Going into days with less expectations, saying, okay, I'm not going to achieve all this. I'm just going to do these 2 things. But then actually like having a huge sense of accomplishment and praising yourself once they're done, and maybe you have a lot of time left and you're continuing to doing other tasks. In the end, you're maybe actually accomplishing that like demanding and big list of tasks, but you will feel like way better about it, because you will feel like you accomplished so much more than your goal was. And that's been a big learning experience for me, because I always used to set my expectations so high, and every day you'd almost go out with a feeling like, I didn't accomplish it. Every day that kind of sense of stress and negativity, and it does a lot to your brain, your heart, always feeling not capable enough, but actually maybe you're doing 5 times the amount someone else does. So I'd say that's something that has come like without consideration because of Zakira. So many days I'll just, it's fine if you don't reach that or that and that. And I'll rather update people, you know what, right now there's a lot of things going on. I'll try to do it in 2 weeks. I'll try to do it in 4 weeks. And I won't hesitate to extend it again, and that kind of prioritization has given me much more calmness. And it's also given me much more joy in the moment, because suddenly you have a lot of time available without pressure. And that time can be invested in family, friends, other things that might give you a feeling of accomplishment. And I think especially being a digital nomad, being more or less 100% in control, or at least if you are an entrepreneur and needs lead companies, being in control of your work time can be a huge benefit, but also a huge drawback, because potentially it could work all the time. So when is there time for things that are not generating income, like, I don't know, cooking, surfing, exercise? And I've started to prioritize those things first until I'm tired of them. Because I keep on saying to myself, like, in the end of the day, is it money or is it joy you're going to remember? And I think most people are going to answer joy in the end of the day. And what's giving you joy? Of course, work is giving you joy, hopefully. If not, you wouldn't be doing it. But I think personal experience, personal time is always more important. So I've started doing all my personal things first and then prioritizing work to the extent it's possible. And it's made me much more happy about work. It's given me a lot of energy and inspiration. And so it's just it's nothing really related to having a kid, but for me, I've always thought this way, but I don't think I've actually been able to execute it until Zakira came. And now it feels so easy to put work aside and prioritize her or prioritize doing something else with family, because suddenly there is this. I had the same feeling with Aunt Sylvia and Lola, but not so strong. Now there is a much stronger family feeling above corporate or professional aspirations, dreams. And before, I probably would look at it as a negative thing, and now I value it a lot. And yeah, so I'm starting to settle in a lot. It's fun. It's actually relaxing in many ways, as much as it's stressful. And just a funny story, some days ago, Aunt Sylvia was kind of talking, soon you'll be all rid of this burden. She's going to the kindergarten. And that was kind of like an enlightenment for me. Oh, shit. And in a couple of months, she'll be going to kindergarten full days, and she'll be out of her life like half of the day. Luckily, we're always in charge, even though we're booked 100% kindergarten place. Where we're moving in the fall. I will reveal that in the next episode, because that's also some really exciting news. But yeah, we're booked 100% kindergarten space, but we're always in control of having her home when we want it to. And I think we're going to do that a lot. I think we're going to pick her up earlier than planned, or, deliver her late if we feel like staying home, or not bring her to the kindergarten if we feel like having a day together. And it's one of those things that I so extremely value. I'm so grateful for all the years of hard work and Sylvia and me have put into becoming our own bosses in all senses, not being depending on anyone in terms of our office we have to meet up at a certain time, because we have some really exciting years in front of us where we can spend time as a family and get the most out of it. Because I'm already feeling that way. Before we got Zakira, I thought, oh goddamn, 18 years, 20 years with this one hanging on your side. And now it's completely different. Now I feel like, oh damn, it's already almost gone 1 year of 18. It's almost like seconds ticking down, and I'm really already looking forward to those 18 years. Maybe there will be more, if we'll get a kid later. I've already officially said no. Only to adopted kid. I don't want more own kids. Well, I think that's it for this episode, guys. A bit different episode. I hope it gives you still like value. I think it does, because life is always related in many ways, and being a digital nomad intervenes personal and corporate life so much more than being employed in a regular company. Very soon, we're going to do a very exciting episode. It's not going to be part of this podcast, but you can find it under my other podcast called George's Little Universe. And we're going to start launching new episodes. There's been a very long while where I haven't put any episodes in that project, but we're going to start it again. And the very first one is going to be with a a very close friend called Sundre Barig, one of the best people in the world doing calisthenics. He is several times world champion, and actually, in my opinion, the person that is closest in the world to do the first ever handstand push-up on one hand. So he also just got a daughter called Nori, a very beautiful girl, and me and Sundre are gonna do a whole episode, 1 hour, on being digital parents, the challenge of it, getting his points of views, because he's also a business owner, has been for several years. And so that's going to be a really exciting episode. It's going to be cool to share those thoughts and get more people involved. So check out that episode. You'll find it under George's Little Universe, both on all podcast platforms, and we'll publish it on YouTube too. And yeah, that's it for this, guys. This time, guys, let me know if there is any questions, and looking forward for the next episode.
Thank you for listening to LD Podcast. We are continuously looking for the most talented innovators. No matter your background or expertise, shoot us an email at high5@ld.studio with your skills and portfolio.